I'm joined by Timothy Chapman. Thanks for joining us this evening. You know, we've talked about how you are a former forensic scientist with the Chicago Police Department, which, you know, a lot of people say, "Wow, that's exciting and interesting," but you say that it's a lot of hard work. It's very tedious work, but you're able to take what you learned from that experience and put it into your books. Bright and Yellow, Hard and Cold, set in Chicago, I take it?
Right.
Yeah, okay. So tell us a little bit about how you write. What's your writing day like?
Well, I kind of split it up. I write Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and it's pretty much a regular work day, although not as long as some other people's. And I just sit down and stare at the screen until a character starts to speak to me, and then I can get into that character and write about him or her.
So you're waiting for kind of divine inspiration, if you will?
No, not really. It's I like to say that there's a piece of me in all of my characters, even the bad guys. So what I do is I go back and I read what I've written in my previous session, and hopefully that character will then sort of speak to me, and I can go on and continue to write about that character. And if I'm stumped, if I have writer's block on that guy, I'll switch over to another character.
And are you spending 8 hours a day in front of your computer?
No. It's like 5 or 6 usually.
Okay, well that's a pretty solid.
It's a chunk.
Solid day for a writer. Yeah.
And then Tuesday and Thursday, I teach writing at Malcolm X College, and then in the evenings I teach Tai Chi out at Chang's Academy in Elmhurst. Okay.
We're going to get to that. And back us up to writing at Malcolm X. You're teaching a writing class, obviously. So what do you impart to your students there? What do you hope that they come away with after taking your class?
Well, I have 2 types of classes I teach. One is sort of a traditional college-level essay research paper class, and for them, I just want them to be engaged in what they're writing, because that's really the most boring class and they don't want to be there. So I try and make it more interesting. For the creative writing classes, though, if I could say one thing that I want all writers, my creative writing students especially, to take away from it is find somebody who knows good writing, who doesn't care if they hurt your feelings or not, and get them to give you feedback. Because your friends and family will, you know, tell you, "Oh, this is wonderful, I love this," because they want to encourage you.
Right.
So find somebody who, you know, wants to hurt your feelings, and let them give you the feedback.
All right, you're full of surprises here, Tim. You're not only a writer, former forensic scientist, but you also teach, as you mentioned, Tai Chi. We've got just a few seconds here, unfortunately, but tell us what you do. I mean, how did you get into Tai Chi?
I started training in the martial arts back when I was in my late 20s. And at one point, I was training in China for a while and blew out one of my knees. And when I came back, my instructor said, instead of training in the external martial arts, why don't you take up Tai Chi? It'll be easier on your knees. And it was kind of like going back to kindergarten, trying to relearn this style, because it's very different from external martial arts, but I loved it. And I've been studying and teaching it probably since, I'd say, the late 80s.
And you've worked that into your writing as well, the Tai Chi angle?
Yeah, my character McKinney in Bright and Yellow, Hard and Cold also studies Tai Chi and uses it at one point in the novel.
Boy. Tim Chapman's full of all sorts of interesting angles. This guy's been an advertising writer. He's worked as a forensic scientist with the Chicago Police Department. No, it's not as exciting as CSI, but nonetheless, good hard work that is necessary and in his books. He's also a writing teacher, and he teaches Tai Chi as well. So, interesting guy.
I think I just have a short attention span.
A short attention span. Okay, that's one way of putting it. That's a good way to do it. All right, 888-993-9922 is that number to call. But I want to mention that you're also a member of the Mystery Writers of America.
Correct, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's a national organization, but here in Chicago we have a local chapter for Midwest members. It's a great organization. We sort of support one another, encourage one another. We have reading series. We invite experts to come in and speak to us. And we encourage people who aren't members to come to our meetings as well. Anybody who's interested in mystery writing or mysteries.
Yeah.
Can I mention where we meet?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think that's a mystery.
We meet once a month at a bookstore in Forest Park called Centuries and Sleuths.
Okay.
And if you check with the bookstore, they can tell you what date we're meeting. It's a great way to meet mystery authors and learn more about mysteries.
Wonderful.